Hi everybody, this week on A&N News Kids, we're going to be talking about the Florida floods and Hurricane Ian, the gas leak and pipe leak in Russia and Europe, the Iran protests, and the Burkina-Faso Coup. The country of the week is Japan, and we are talking about methane in the Extra Fun segment. We are talking about professions in the Chinese segment, and we are interviewing Mr. Munya Chanetsa, an amazing person, this week. He's in the music industry and has started a company called Moti, Master of the Industry. He has amazing things to say and his journey is incredible. I really hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and comment below because it will really help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. Hurricane Ian is bringing a lot of terror and damage throughout Florida. It just passed Florida and went to North and South Carolina. But in Florida, many homes are destroyed and others are without power or are flooded. The thing is, the government does not know how many people have died or how many people are missing, and so there's a massive search party searching for all the survivors. Many people describe it as a life and death situation when the water came coming into the home. There was only two options, to swim or to drown. It'll take a lot of time and money to bring things back to normal around Florida, and hopefully it won't create a lot of terror in the other states. Joe Biden described it as the worst and deadliest hurricane in the state's history. At least 76 protesters have died in the Iran unrest that has been going on for 11 days after the death of a woman who was in custody for not wearing her hijab properly. Many people have started protesting, and the anti-government demonstration has spread to more than 80 cities and towns in Iran. There's a lot of things happening there, and 8 European officials have also been arrested. Iran said that 1,000 people have been arrested, and many of them are also journalists. Students and teachers from different universities have also gone on strike and walk out of their classrooms because of these protests. And now people around the world have also started taking part and protesting too. There's a major gas leak in an undersea pipeline carrying Russian gas to Europe. There's a huge hole in there and a lot of methane is escaping and going into the Earth's atmosphere. This is a terrible thing, and many European officials and countries, US and NATO, have been saying that it was Russia who sabotaged this leak. But Russia is fighting back and saying that it was not them. It wouldn't make sense for Russia to sabotage its own gas pipeline. This means a lot of damages to the economy as well as the environment. The environment especially, because methane is actually 80 times worse than carbon dioxide to the earth in its first 20 years. This has caused a lot of environmental damage. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, also said that he applied Ukraine for the NATO, and soon Ukraine could be a part of NATO. An army officer in Burkina-Faso announced on national TV that he took over the country from the previous leader, who was called Lieutenant Col Damiba. He said that he took over because the lieutenant could not keep the Islamist groups and could not stop the Islamic coups. The location of the lieutenant is unknown at the moment, but there's some new rules in the country that this army officer, who is called Ibrahim Traore, has announced. He has announced that the country is now closed indefinitely and that there's a curfew from 9 to 5 inside. He also said that political activity will be stopped in the country. There were many Islamic coups happening in the country, and that's why the previous leader was overthrown. Many people are feeling quite unsafe about this new leader, and there have been some protests throughout the country this week. This week on A&N News Kids Future Career segment, we are interviewing Mr. Munya Chanetsa. He's in the music industry and he has a business called Moti, Master of the Industry. He has amazing things to say, and I really hope you enjoy and learn something new.
My name is Munya Chanetsa, and I'm the founder of Moti, which is Masters of the Industry, an online platform which is focusing on sharing the much needed information. Any creative, well, I'm talking specifically to music though, but any music creative would need to know if they're entering the industry, because due to lack of knowledge, we're seeing a lot of let me say, musicians and creatives not really seeing the value of doing things properly. And in turn, they're losing money because of that. And additional to that, I'm also the managing director for Africa for Empire Publishing. And Empire is a San Francisco-based record label, distributor, as well as publisher. They started in 2010 by a gentleman by the name of Ghazi. And you know why Empire felt like just a great fit for me is because, you know, everyone in Empire, including Ghazi, who's the founder, have had, I guess, major record label experience. They've sat in different places, and you know, at the end of the day, ultimately the most important thing is the creative, which I think that a lot of us kind of felt that that's getting neglected. So Empire kind of works with a different model where they don't really own any masters like record labels would. The way we work at looking with talent is with partnering more with you than just signing your masters and the like a record label, which is a super interesting model to me. And on the publishing side, which I'm focusing on publishing, and I deal with the songwriters and producers. That's going to be my focus, looking for the best songwriters and producers on the continent. And to outside of keeping them busy in the sense whether they're working on with performing artists, writing music, producing songs for them, or whether it is maybe even scoring for TV and television shows. I mean, yeah, scoring can go across games, TV shows, and movies. But also we also make sure that they get their royalties, because a lot of songwriters and producers aren't aware that there are royalties that are due to them. They just think that it's a once-off payment, you've done your job, you're done. But no, you actually have royalties. And my job is also make sure that through the what we call the collection management organizations that you are getting your royalties. So I'm very excited about being part of the Empire team and what we're going to be doing. So that's currently where I am right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And could you tell us a bit about your journey from Moti to Empire and how you transitioned?
Sure. I've been in the industry for definitely over a decade now.
Wow.
And I've been very fortunate to wear different hats. And I've had very different, interesting experiences, which definitely have led me to where I am. I mean, I originally started at a record label by the name, a New York-based record label by the name of Putumayo World Music. And they were based in Cape Town, and I was the promotions and marketing manager. I worked there for probably 2 years, of which, for reasons, I had to, well, basically the record label wanted to, it's almost at the time they didn't want to, the wave of digitizing music and streaming was starting to be introduced, but they were just like, no, we want to stick with CDs, which is quite interesting. And because of that, that's when I was like, when I got the opportunity to move to Johannesburg and work for an aggregation company. An aggregation company is basically a digital distributor. I worked there, and that was an opportunity I had because in my head, digital is the future. So it was a great opportunity there, and I climbed the ranks there. I mean, I think I started as a marketing person, and then it turned into marketing and promotions, and then I was A&R to find artists, and then what was it? Then I think my last role there was I was the head of operations for the continent. So I was handling operations. I was very fundamental in opening up offices in different countries. So as we expanded, I was responsible for opening up offices in Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, Angola, and yeah, it was a fun time. It was really great. And I met great people. I was very fortunate to travel a lot. So I made some really awesome networks, some really great people who I still work with closely today. We also, what else? And the core business there at Content Connect Africa is something called the caller ringback tone. So outside of being able to put your music on Spotify and Apple, etc., there's one format in Africa which I think a lot of people also neglect is the caller ringback tone, and that's when it's a service that's provided by the mobile network operators such as MTN and Vodacom. What it is basically if I was to call you, instead of just hearing a normal tone whilst I'm waiting, a song plays. And that's what the ringback tone is. And it's a very popular format because one of the things I always say to people is we tend to forget that us guys who've got the smartphones and all this, we're not the majority in this continent. We're still a minority, actually. Smartphone penetration is still something that's growing. And so, I always think that people that don't have smartphones, they also everyone wants to be able to express themselves in their own way, to show this is my favorite song and this is the song I'm listening to, etc. And I feel the caller ringback tone services that. It's cheap. Number one, I think when I was last there, it was like 50 cents for a week. So it doesn't hit the bottom line of someone too much. You don't have to have a smartphone device to be able to access them. You can just use a short code. You SMS the code. You get you then get the CRBT, and and it doesn't require any space. You don't need to be able to stream. Your phone doesn't require any space. So So anyway, so that's what they're called, basically Content Connect Africa. So I was there for, as I said, for majority of my career. Excuse me. And eventually, I think at some point I did kind of, let me say, I hit a point where I think I wanted to explore more in the industry. And as that happened, an opportunity came where one day I got a call from the CEO of one of the collection management organizations in South Africa called Capasso. Capasso stands for Composers, Authors, and Publishers Association. So Capasso is a non-profit, and basically their job is to license their members' music, and specifically the members are those three groups of people: the composers, and by a composer is basically like a producer. author is seen as a songwriter, and publisher.
Yeah.
So those are their members, and they make sure that they license their music to allow platforms, various different platforms, whether it is the digital ones, whether it is broadcast on television, whether it's, I mean, even if it's what they call in-store music, where music being played in stores, that all these people that are using, because ultimately you're using someone's music, so you're using someone's rights. So in order, you need permission to do that. So we used to be at Capasso, we would be the one who are administering allowing those, providing those licenses. So we provide the licenses. We also collect the money, the fees, and make sure those fees are distributed accordingly to the correct rights holders. So, and this was now at the time, it was fascinating to me because I didn't have much experience in this area, you know, within copyright, within publishing, and songwriters and producers. But I think during my time there, I really grew a heart for them because they're so fundamental to music. What's a song without producers and songwriters, you know?
Yeah.
You need them, but they really are the forgotten creators. They don't, and then I said there's a big information gap there as well. And that's also what this, it was during this time where I think now Moti was now starting to bubble up in my head, because I was like, you know, we need to be able to get this information out. Like, and it's, the thing is, the information is there, but it's everywhere. So that's when I was like, maybe I should create a consolidated one platform where everything is there, one-stop shop, and you can get the information you need. So that's where Moti was kind of spawned. But I mean, this would have been like in 2018, 2019. But I only launched Moti this year in 2022. But that's when the idea, I'd say, spawned. So, but what I did do at that time, I remember I was working on whilst I had to go to school during the time. And as I said, it's so funny when I finished university, I remember telling my parents, I'm never going back to school. I'm done. I've got my degree. You guys are happy. That's my part of the deal. But, you know, but I think, you know, it's always different when you're learning about something you're passionate about. So I was very excited to go back to school, and I attended the Academy of Sound Engineering, who are offering a course a masterclass in the music business.
Wow.
So I attended that, and it was very enlightening, especially on the publishing and the copyright side. And it was my time there is when I learned about one of the biggest global copyright infringement cases comes from South Africa. And I wasn't aware of that. And that's why I was like, yo, if I don't know this, then how does anyone else know? And it's actually the song called Mbube, which today a lot of us know that song as Lion Sleeps Tonight. And it's made millions, I think over $60 million worldwide, that song.
Wow.
However, the original creators, the original creator was a gentleman by the name of Solomon Linda. And he, just to be honest, he died not in the best state. He didn't have a lot. I think he died, I think it was like he had 112 Rand in his account when he passed away. And the way copyright and music works is that copyright is literally, it's an asset. So that means that even though he passes away, his children should be able to benefit, and his children's children, you know, but because things weren't done correctly, till today, the family didn't benefit as they should have, which is a very heartbreaking story for me. So I remember at that time, I took it upon myself. I said, you know what, I'm going to try and shed some light upon this, because it's twofold. It was twofold for me, because I felt that even though this happened in 1968, it happened in 1937 or something like that, but he only passed away in 1968. But we're still seeing those things happening in 2020. That was at the time, it was like 2019, 2020. And I was like, it's crazy to me that artists are still not falling for these traps, but due to the lack of knowledge, they're just not making the right choices, and they're signing away things. Although his case is a bit complicated. There's actually on Netflix, there's a thing called The Lion's Share documentary. So if anyone wants to just watch that and understand about this case and what happened, you should watch that, definitely. So actually, after watching that documentary as part of my homework, I remember I think I was just really it was heartbreaking. And that's why I was like, someone needs to try to do something about this. And then I said, why can't that someone be me? So what I ended up doing is I did I reached out to the family. I got hold of the family trust. I told them that what I wanted to do is I wanted to recreate the original version the father created, because it was now what we called it was out of copyright. And I wanted to be able to create a version, and I wanted to give a percentage of the copyright to the family, so that they own that, so that any money that's made, actually, this is what should have been done, but any money that's made, they can always benefit off that. So they agreed, they gave me their blessing. I was very fortunate to also work with the legendary Mawatela Queens. They are legends in the game. They have the most popular song, I think most people, they know of them, is called Kazette. And Kazette. So the Mawatela Queens, and I mean, they were like, at the time, the three of them, they were in their late 70s, and we worked on this project together. They came into studio, and two of them actually came out of retirement just to do this project. And we recreated the song. I was fortunate to find some really awesome producers who believed in my vision. There were three gentlemen who, just in terms of the production, Boki Alt, another gentleman by the name of Cuba, and another gentleman by the name of Snow Keys, and he's good on the keyboard keys. And we just did this project together, and it was really heartwarming. It was beautiful. I know I was really seeking funding to take it to the next level, because it was out of my own pocket. So I was really looking for partners. However, I wasn't able to secure. So the project, I kind of put it on. It's not dead. It's not dead yet. It's just on pause. I sincerely believe that I can pick this up at some point and run with it. But I called the project. So I did put it on YouTube. If you look it's called Happy Endings, the Mbube story. And I called it Happy Endings because I remember after watching the documentary, The Lion's Share, there was no happy ending for the family. So I was like, let me try and give them a happy ending. And then also the song is called Bube 2020. Was it Bube 2000? No, yes, Bube 2020. Sorry, yeah. And that's the one we uploaded. It's available on streaming. We did a lyric video for it as well. We managed to shoot a lyric video, which was really exciting, with the Mawatela Queens. So that's all on YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. But so that project happened in between. And whilst I was working at Capasso, and that was also, as I said, Capasso was very enlightening for me. It was a great job. And I guess through my job at Capasso is how I ended up working at Sony Music Publishing. And I mean, I think I was at Capasso for, I think, maybe 2 years again. And then Sony gave me a call, and they were like, basically they were like, we're looking to create, there's a role that we haven't had at Sony Music Publishing, which is an A&R role, that stands for Artist and Repertoire. And they were like, this is a new position, and we'd like to offer you position for the continent, where we're looking for the best songwriters and producers on the continent. If you're interested, let's make it happen. And I did accept, because the thing about me is that I am very much, I like to be in the trenches. I like to get my hands dirty with the creatives. And, I love being in studio. I love seeing the creative process. So this was my opportunity to be there again. So I accepted the position, and that's when I worked at Sony Music Publishing. I was there for, again, a period of 2 years. And during my time, it was also very enlightening, because at that time I had never worked at a publishing company. So it was really, again, learning. And I think the biggest success story there was I signed a lady by the name of Nontlebo Zikode. She's the lady, she was the songwriter and the singer for Jerusalem, the song that was a phenomenon globally. I think we all know Jerusalem. So, I mean, that was fantastic. Signing her to Sony was a major win. I know people were very happy with me after that. But I'd say, then after 2 years, I had the opportunity where Empire came, and Empire Publishing is still brand new on the continent, and
Yeah.
they offered the position to become the managing director, of which I couldn't. There's no way I could deny that.
Yeah.
And as I shared earlier, I really love how empires structure, how they work, how they view the industry, how the models that we use at Empire are not like you would see kind of at the record labels. And because also Empire's independent, they also have this flexibility where we can try out new stuff. It's so exciting. So so that's where I am now. So that's my career journey. I don't know how.
Wow, that's
yeah. Your journey is amazing. It's really interesting.
Oh, thank you. Well, I thank God, because let me tell you, there's no way I could have planned this.
yeah.
It's happened in such a
Wow,
way that
that's really amazing.
it's only God. Yeah.
And what is your advice to kids?
So advice to kids, is that, as you grow up and stuff, I think some of the things for myself, and I'll use myself as an example, for music specifically, I've always been very passionate about music. And I think very early on, I learned that I'm not a singer and I'm not a producer. So at least I learned that lesson very early. But, I always used to immerse myself with what I loved, which was music. And, I was the kind of person where, in Zimbabwe, where I grew up, I'm from Zimbabwe, by the way. So where I grew up and where I did my high school, I would be the first when there were plays and school plays. I'd be the person there being part of the school plays. When it came to festivals that were happening in Harare, I would volunteer my time to be. I remember there used to be a big one called Haifa, which is the Harare International Festival of Arts. I used to volunteer my time at these kind of, like, I would go not getting paid, but I was just happy to be around music, and I'd be stage manager. So these things I feel, and spending my time in these places of just purely where I knew I just loved being there. I think it helped me to get where I am today, ultimately. Music is something which, that's why I always say it's one of my first loves. And I think music shows me love back because I genuinely love music. For kids, I think, some of the important things is just, if you have a passion, if you have a love, don't be shy to or afraid to just be around your passion, whatever it is. I don't want to say that cliche, follow your dreams as such, but just spend time with your passion. Try with access to the internet now. There's a lot of information on YouTube. You can find out more information, watch interviews from the experts. If there's little things, just learn more as much as you can, so that because you never know, there might be a point in time where now you will get an opportunity to be in these positions that you were reading about or learning about, also other things like great things like reading is just such a discipline, which I wish I actually read more as a child. I'll be very honest. At first, it was something I never liked to do, but reading is also something so important, because you can also you can learn so much. Someone has taken their time to write a book, and they're putting their entire life experiences into a book, which is now a couple of pages. Now, instead of you having to go through the experiences, you can read this book and learn from that, if you know what I mean. Yeah. That's how you can get some really great teachings and learnings. There's 3 words that I like to live by, which is, the abbreviation is CDC, which stands for commitment. It's very important when you want to do something, make sure you commit to it, even if it's not something you enjoy. Sometimes we all have to do things we don't enjoy, but you have to commit yourself to do the best job that you can do. Discipline as well, to make sure you have to be disciplined also when it comes to these things. And consistency is, you have to consistently keep doing things also. Sometimes you can't, and it's amazing what lessons you can learn when you do these things. So CDC is something that I live by: commitment, discipline, and consistency. What else would I say to kids? Also, another great thing is try your best to try and you know when they talk about visualization and defining things, it's very important to define things for yourself where everyone wants to be successful. But your vision, your guys' vision of what success is to each of you is different from mine. And even all three of us have different views of what success means to them. And an exercise I remember doing years ago was one we used to just write. I used to write just like what was success to Munya. And I mean, I think that is also something that really helped me as well in my journey because, and obviously this list, I update, I still have it actually, funny enough, till today. It's like, where is it? There's a big book I have and I wrote it all there. Wow. And till today, actually, let me show it to you 1 second.
Sure.
Oh, look at this is my book of
wow.
that I write all my little things down. You see, I don't know, it says commitment, discipline, consistency. You see? So yeah, this is literally on these pages, this is my definition to success. And this is something which I've been doing for years, and I always just update it as time goes. So defining it what it is to you is so important. It's something which it will definitely help. It's surprising. You may not see it yet, but when you do these things, it's amazing how life just comes together. You'll be surprised how some of these things that you've written down actually are happening. You're living it. And that's a fantastic thing. So writing down stuff, understanding, defining things to you is very important. And one other thing which I also did, because, I also believe in the law of attraction. I believe in the power of positivity. One of the things you learn in life is that the truth is there's ups and downs. That's life. Life is always like that. However, the power that you have is you can choose what you choose to focus on. And I do my very best to try and focus on the positivity. And even something that helped me do that is I used to keep a diary, which is a gratitude diary. And what I would do every morning is just before my day starts, just so that I start and I kind of get my mind wired in the right direction, is I would think about the previous day. I'll think about all the positive things that happened to me. That's all I would write. I mean, obviously bad things would have happened during the day, but all I'm focusing is all the positive. And I'll just say, thank you. And I'll just write down what was that positive thing. Thank you. Wow. So for example, I landed from Mozambique yesterday. If I had done it, I didn't do it this morning, but I would be saying things like, thank you for the safe travel to Mozambique and like to traveling the to and fro, because I'm grateful for that. Thank you for the new relationships I formed when I was in Mozambique. Thank you for the insights that I learned whilst I was traveling, the new information I've gathered. Thank you for this podcast to be able to to talk to children and to kind of guide and give great advice. So doing that, what will end up happening when you do that is then during your day, you'll start looking for the positive things because you know that I have to write down the positive things tomorrow. So you start looking for the good, and that's something which I feel is invaluable, and I still do it on and off today. So yeah, doing a gratitude diary is something I would highly recommend. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was amazing advice. We definitely got some great stuff from that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Munya. Thank you.
Awesome. No, thank you guys. Thank you. Keep doing the good job.
Thank you. It was so amazing talking to you.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you for your time and for inviting me.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
All right, you too. Bye.
Le Japon est un pays d'Asie de l'Est. Sa capitale est Tokyo et sa population est de 126 millions d'habitants. Le Japon est l'un des plus pauvres pays du monde. Le Tokyo est le pays le plus populé du monde. Le Japon a une espérance de vie très haute. 29% de la population a un âge qui est plus grand que 65 ans, qui est la plus grande proportion d'un pays du monde. Le volcan possède de nombreux volcans actifs. Le Japon a 1500 tremblements de terre ou séismes chaque année. Les forêts couvrent 57% du Japon. Le Japon se compose de plus que 6800 îles. Merci. Hi everybody, this week for the ANN News Kids Extra Fun segment, I'm going to be talking about methane. I really hope you learn something new and enjoy. Methane is one of the three main greenhouse gases. It's also known as CH4, and the other two greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, CO2, and nitrous oxide, N2O. Methane is responsible for about 20% of global warming. Carbon dioxide is known for about 70%, and nitrous oxide is known for about the remaining 10%. Natural gas is primarily made up of methane. Domestic livestock is the biggest source of methane. During the first 20 years of its release, methane is about 80 times more powerful and worse to the earth than carbon dioxide. I really hope you enjoyed these facts about methane and learned something new. Hi everybody, this week on the Mandarin segment, I'm going to be telling you different professions in Chinese. I hope you enjoy. I hope you watched last week's video on the recap of introducing yourself, numbers and greetings in Chinese. Let's start with professions. To say reporter, you say 记者,记者,记者. Reporter. Teacher is 老师,老师,老师. It shouldn't be confused with 老鼠, which means rat. Pilot is 飞行员,飞行员, pilot. Doctor is 医生,医生. Lawyer is 律师,律师. It shouldn't be confused with 绿色, which means green. Cook is 厨师,厨师. Businessman is 商人,商人. And finally, farmer is 农民,农民. I really hope you enjoyed these professions in Chinese. Don't forget to practice. 再见.